Hey, did you just download Unity and don't know where to start? No worries, I got you. In this Unity Basics tutorial, we'll be covering various items like layouts, panels, creating your first game object, game object components, and how to manipulate game objects within your environment. Welcome to Unity. In the top right, we can set our layouts. This is personal preference, so you can play around with it and see which one you like best. I'm going to show you the one I use, but feel free to change it however you see fit. So to start, go to Default in the top right, and then over in the bottom left where you see Project, we're going to right-click, change this to one column layout, and then hold down with the left mouse button, and we can drag this anywhere we want. All these panels can be dragged. But we're going to put this one right underneath hierarchy. We're going to take the console and drag that right underneath our scene and game tab. Awesome. Bottom left, we have our projects tab. In the projects folder, this is where we can create our own folders and organize our entire project to keep things like scripts, music files, asset artwork, various different things and configurations you might use in your project. Once you have something that you want to use in your project, you can drag it into your hierarchy or directly into your scene view. Hierarchy is in the top left. Here we can see things like main camera and global light. And if we double tap or press F on the keyboard, it'll focus on those items in our scene view. So I press F, we can see it's going to focus it on the camera. We could also zoom in with our mouse wheel. We scroll. We can see the camera object there. So scene view is showing us what's active in our scene. If we toggle over to game view, it'll show us what the camera can actually see. So right now, we can't see anything. The inspector is showing us all the components for the highlighted game objects. So if we look over on the left, we have main camera highlighted. So we're seeing all the components for main camera. We can see where it's located by looking at the transform, 0, 0, and -10. So it's at 0 on the horizontal, 0 on the vertical, and -10 on the z-axis. There's some other components. We're not going to dive into these just yet. But let's toggle back over to our scene view, zoom out just a little bit with our scroll wheel. There we go. We can center it by using our middle mouse button, or if you push in on your scroll wheel, then you can kind of move it around how you see fit. Alright, so in the hierarchy on the left side, let's go ahead and create our first game object. We're going to do that by right-clicking in the hierarchy, navigating down to 2D object, selecting sprites, and let's make a circle. Awesome. Before you click on anything, let's rename this to boulder. You can name it to whatever you want, but we're going to call it a boulder. Hit enter, and then over on the right-hand side, for this boulder, we now have a sprite renderer, and we can change the color. So you can make it any color you want. I'm going to make it orange. Awesome. We've got an orange boulder. Now that we have our boulder in here, we can press W on the keyboard or come up to the tool menu and select the move tool. That'll bring up these arrows, and you can click on the red arrow to move the object on the horizontal axis, left and right. You'll notice the x-axis and the transform is being updated. Same will happen when we select the green arrow to move it vertically on the y-axis. Awesome. Additionally, besides updating it with these arrows, you can come over and select the x-axis directly in the transform and update it here by dragging on the x or dragging on the y or putting in a specific position that you want. 20. Where'd it go? Well, if you're missing it, go ahead and select it again in your hierarchy, and then press F on your keyboard or double click on that game object. There it is. We can zoom out. We can see it is way outside of our camera in our scene view. So if we want to get it back into our game view, which is what the camera can see, we need to reset the boulder to 0, 0, 0. So you can type it in manually, 0, 0, or you can right click and hit reset. And now we can see there's our boulder. It's back in the game view. One thing to note about the game view is you can't manipulate objects through this. This is just what the player is going to see. So right now you can't select it, you can't click on it or anything. We have to navigate back to our scene view. Now we can move it around. Awesome. Alright, so there's a couple other tools we want to touch on real quick. That would be the rotate tool, which you can rotate your game object any way you see fit. We also have the transform or scale tool to scale your object any way you see fit. And then one of my favorites is the rect tool, which I use for scaling the object. So if we zoom in on this again real quick, use your mouse wheel or press F on the game object to zoom in. Get it centered here. And with the rect tool selected, and that shortcut hotkey for those that love hotkeys is T on the keyboard, we can then scale this object. But if you hold shift while scaling, you can keep its aspect ratio and scale it uniformly. Awesome. If you let go of the shift bar, and then it looks a little awkward. If you get too carried away with it and you want to get it back to how it was before, you can come up here and set your scale back to 111, or right click on the transform and hit reset. Good to go. Hope you enjoyed this basic overview of Unity. There's a lot more to come. We have lots of topics to cover. I'm trying to give you just a little bit at a time and not overwhelm you. So next up we got some colliders, some rigid bodies, and maybe a little bit of scripting. We'll see you then.